Councillors, officers and member of the public, welcome to the 17th of December 2025 Ordinary Meeting of Council. I will now open the meeting with the first item on this evening's agenda, the reading of the prayer. Thank you, Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Almighty God, be with us as we work for the people of the Shire of Moorabool. Grant us wisdom that we may care for the Shire as true stewards of your creation. May we be aware of the great responsibilities placed upon us. Help us to be just in all our dealings, and may our work prosper for the good of all. Amen.
Thank you. I will now read the Acknowledgement of Country. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. In accordance with Moorabool Shire's governance rules, the Council will be recording and live stream this meeting. The Moorabool News and Star Weekly have also been granted permission to record this meeting. I can confirm that all councillors are in attendance tonight and there are no apologies to this meeting. Councillors, we have minutes from the 3rd of December 2025 Ordinary Meeting of Council to be confirmed. Do I have a councillor to move the minutes from to be confirmed? Councillor Sullivan, seconder Councillor Keogh. Is there any dissent? No. We'll put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Passed unanimous. Disclosure of conflicts of interest. Does any councillor have a conflict of interest to declare? Yes, Councillor Keogh.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, item 19.3, I've got a perceived conflict of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Councillors, we've received one question from a member of the public to be considered at this meeting. The question is from Rose Dela Cruz, and we were read and responded to by Executive Manager, Community Planning and Development, Henry Bezuidenhout.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We've got one question from Rose Dela Cruz. The question relates to Ballant Precinct 5. The question reads as follows: will Council support an act to save the aqueduct? In response, the water channel or aqueduct is currently under ownership of Barwon Water. The panel report makes the following comments. Further flora and fauna surveys for potential threatened species will need to be conducted, and will be important that they occur at the appropriate time of the year when threatened species are likely to be identifiable. This may result in further adjustments to the development concept plan, including consideration of environmental values that may be present along the former Barwon Water aqueduct in the western part of the subject land. Further technical studies and detailed design will inform the final layout, pedestrian linkages and road network within the precinct. The development of the land needs to be generally in accordance with the approved development plan.
Thank you.
Mr Mayor.
Is there any questions to that? No?
Excuse me, Steve, do I get my 3 minutes?
No, you don't. No, you can't.
You don't speak to it?
No, it's just a question.
Okay.
Yep. Petitions, we have no petitions to be considered this evening. Presentations and deputations, we have 8 in person and 1 written in front of you, councillors. Moving along, item 11, Chief Executive Officer's reports. Councillors, we will now move on to the Chief Executive Officer's report, item 11.1, Draft Domestic Animal Management Plan. Councillors, are there any? Councillor Minari.
Thank you. I'll move it with a question, please, Mr Mayor.
Yes, you may.
I just wanted to note on page 24 of our document in the activity in moving forward, in undertaking a study into the current cap curfew to assess whether it meets community expectations and remains effective for the community. I know there'll be a study report and findings coming to us. I'm just wondering, is there I understand it's going to be next year, but is there some sort of rough date that we could be looking at that for anyone that contacts us?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, you'll see the action has got listed as a time frame when, 2026. So the proposal is that once this report is adopted by council, submitted to state government, that action will go on to the work plan, and the work plan will be the 26-27 work plan, and that will be approved by council as needed when it goes on consultation and engagement.
Thank you.
No worries. Councillor Ward, you're seconding that?
I'm happy to second it, Mr Mayor, but I also have a question of office, if I may. Further to Councillor Manari's question, I noticed there's some very pleasing information that's come out in the report. Dog attacks and barking complaints are down, dogs euthanased are down, and dogs returned to owner are up. However, cats impounded and euthanised is up. So there was a strong message there from the public that cat containment and cat roaming is a major concern. So I was going to ask Mr Bazudnad, if I may, how council intends to tackle that problem, which is clearly a concern of our community.
Mr Bazudin now.
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor. While we do the further study, we will still have the operational responsibility to maintain and manage a nuisance, an animal nuisance. So in terms of our operational proceedings, we will look at how we can do any improvements in the interim and how we can best deal with it. Some of those are also basically feral cats, which makes it more difficult. We also work in conjunction with our vet clinics and with adjoining councils.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a subsequent question, Mr Bazudnad. I noticed that despite the increase in population in Moorabool significantly over the last 5 years, the number of dogs and cats registered has actually decreased. So increasing registration, education and awareness is a priority. How will council go about that to increase the effectiveness of that program?
Through Mr. Mayor, the animal registration normally is due by April every year. So in a lead up to the April registration period, we're already working on an education, media campaign and community engagement to see if we can improve that. So that will be part of our strategy in the interim. We also have got an action in the plan to also improve that registration numbers.
All right. Any further questions? Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I know that the state government component of this has gone up considerably. Could you give me some indication of when that takes effect and how much it will be to the average person that registers their dog or cat, please?
The President now.
Through Mr. Chair, the current payment is $4.50 per registration. That's going to increase to $9. It won't be applicable in the current financial year, which for the April registrations, it will, in my understanding, only be in the subsequent 26-27 financial year. So there will be time to absorb that, and we will include as part of the budget process to see how best to deal with that.
Yep. Councillor Thatcher.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. When we send out that invoice to those people, could we make sure that we notify or at least mark on that document the increase from the state government in terms of the componentry of the fee? Thank you.
Any further questions? We'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Moving along, community planning and development reports. Councillors, we will now move on to community planning and development reports. The next report is item 12.1, planning scheme amendments C108 Moorabool Precinct 5, adoption for amendment. We have 3 speakers to the item. They're all in person. And Jody Valpy will be the first one up. You've got 3 minutes. I'll let you know when there's about 30 seconds to go. No worries. And just in front of you, just push the green, the button, it'll turn green. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, councillors and council staff. I'm presenting on behalf of Bacchus Marsh Platypus Alliance, which is a local group with over 80 members and 200 supporters and also operates in the Ballan area. Although we are grateful that some of our concerns have been addressed in the revised amendment for this Balan West development, there still remain important outstanding issues that need to be addressed before the revised amendment is sent to the Planning Minister. One key issue is the location of the commercial centre, in other words, the local shop area, which is currently proposed right beside the river corridor on top of a windy elevated area. Litter would easily blow from this shop location into the river corridor, posing an unacceptable risk to native wildlife, including platypus. It would also result in higher clean-up costs for council and for local community groups. As outlined in the Planning Panel report, the planning expert witness recommended the commercial centre be located around 150 metres south of that location. This would bring the commercial centre away from the edge of the river corridor, substantially reducing risks of litter influx into the river environment. And as the expert witness outlined, it would also improve accessibility to a larger number of lots and provide a more central location in the precinct. Basically, overall better planning outcomes. But it would still be easily accessible, in fact, just across the road from the active open space and community facility. Despite these clear advantages of the revised recommended position, the current amendment has still retained the commercial centre in the unsuitable position right at the top of the windy hill beside the river. The response to the Planning Panel report doesn't address environmental or amenity concerns about this position of the commercial centre. Litter and microplastic pollution to waterways are key environmental risks identified at national and international levels, and Council does have a legal responsibility to actively mitigate these when these opportunities come up for mitigation. Locating commercial premises away from waterways is a simple step towards mitigating this risk. So we are therefore urging councillors to send this amendment in its current form back for further revision, removing this commercial centre before voting. It's better to get this right now than having to deal with the litter issues and associated costs in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jodie. Councillors, do we have any questions for Jodie? Councillor Ward.
I have two questions, if I may, but the first one is to officers, please. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Bezuidenhout, I'm sorry. In her presentation to the panel, the Bacchus Marsh Platypus Alliance and Jodie indicated a preference to have that shopping centre or the commercial area located 150 metres to the south. Can you explain to us tonight why that current location was chosen and that request was denied?
Mr Bezuidenhout.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to clarify, the concept plan was updated. The panel made recommendations. They left it to officers to further consider and engage with the developer. So there's a defined 100-metre sensitivity area, which was defined by Melbourne Water. So in the updated plan, the development is moved outside that 100-metre sensitivity area. So that's been updated. The preference of council is there's a lot of work that went into determining the current location. So indicative, it's still in the same location, but outside that sensitivity area. The preference is to co-locate retail, commercial, community facilities in one location. It's located on the Collector Road, which makes it highly accessible. And it also is now co-located with medium density, which also enhances that principle of co-locating facilities and then also accessible to medium density development. On that basis, we moved the location outside the sensitivity area, but kept it in more or less the same, apply the same principles. And then when the development plan will be considered and approved by council, we will further refine that location.
Thank you, Mr Bezuidenhout. My second question is to Jodie. Jodie, thanks for coming along tonight and thank you for sending that information through. I've read with interest the planning panel's report and all the information that's been sent through to us. I picked up on a point you made about the development principles. Now, I noted in the planning panel's report it said that the planning for the Precinct 5 is further advanced than might be ordinarily be expected at this stage of the planning process, particularly in relation to cultural heritage, ecology and river corridor interface. And the development has been designed with avoid, minimise and offset principles, and retaining the river corridor is the amendment most important ecological outcome. So the planning panel has actually said that this has been designed, well, they actually commended the design for this rezoning application, saying that the ecological impact had been designed as front of mind effectively. So it's probably quite not exactly as you put it earlier in your presentation. How would you respond to that?
My response would be that the ecological aspects that were considered by the planning panel tended to be around retaining vegetation, around stormwater assets and so forth. They didn't actually have a lot to comment on regarding litter influx and so forth, and that was also outside the area of expertise of the ecological expert witness that was called there, and he actually said that was outside their expertise, his expertise. So the planning panel has said that they have no preference to where that commercial centre is, but they do highlight that the planning expert witness identified planning benefits. And we, from our personal experience as well, if you go up on to Underbank and stand on the edge of the escarpment there, very similar thing. Imagine a shop being there. We get to clean up a lot of litter around shops and so forth. I'm also involved in scientific research in that area. Yeah, I think when the planning panel has referred to those ecological things, they're not necessarily referring to those kind of consequences of litter blowing around and things like that. Also, the reason the planning expert preferred that that slightly south position was because of more medium density housing around that area. So we see that as which, there wasn't and there is less of that medium density where it's currently sitting, much less of that medium density housing where it's currently sitting. Yeah, so we see that as a win-win situation. It's not really disadvantaging anyone to remove it. It's still on a connector road. It's like walking from here to just outside the council car park property away, but that small distance brings it so much further away from the edge of the escarpment. So that's the reasoning.
Final question, if I may, Mr Mayor. Jody, I note as part of the this application to rezone the land, Precinct 5, that a flora and fauna assessment plan was done along with the requirements identified for work already partly done on a biodiversity management plan. And if the minister signs off and it goes ahead, there'll be a construction environmental management plan, and there'll also be a public open space and landscape plan. Now, as part of the process for all of those, there's community engagement. So there's an opportunity to address concerns that may still exist and that may arise when further information is identified. Does that give you some comfort, or do you have any confidence that
I think it's good that there will be community input into that process. I also know from past experience that it's very difficult when something is in a development concept plan. We have had prior experience in this council where they've stuck with that development concept plan. It's a lot easier to move a commercial premises 150 metres south and avoid that kind of problem than to then have to think, once the suburb is established, there's not going to be a environmental management plan then to then, say, well, how are we going to stop this litter going over the edge, basically. So, yeah, I don't think that environmental management plan will really address that ongoing kind of future issue. And B, I think the easier solution, unless you're going to put up big litter nets or something that will be way more expensive and difficult, would be just to move the commercial premises that short distance. And as it says in the planning panel report, it's better to do that now in the development concept plan than to make the risk of that being misinterpreted of kind of having to go against that in the future with the development plan overlay process. So, yeah. Thank you, Jane. Thank you.
Councillor Sullivan.
Yeah, I guess my question was along the line of the second question that Councillor Ward had, that the group or their consultants had the opportunity to present at the panel, so the panel was part of the general consideration. Is that correct?
Yes, we had the opportunity to present. Our presentation or our statement wasn't. The planning panel cannot accept our statement with the same weight as an expert witness statement. So it was just, treated as community feedback rather than, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Jodie.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Bernard Reimert, who is registered to speak in person to this item. Bernard, please address the council. You've got 3 minutes. I'll let you know when you've got about 30 seconds to go.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and councillors. I live at 400 Old Melbourne Road. I'm one of the properties that abut the development and it is part of that zoning area in Precinct 5. I speak for the proposal, and the reason is, even though I do not have any qualms or questions about the environment or that, we have been in limbo for 5 years while this process has been going on. We originally approached the council. We were advised, it'll be good for you, you'll be able to sell, you'll make a profit. We didn't want that. We had came to Balan to have a rural lifestyle. When that seemed inevitable that was not going to be the case, we decided that we would try to sell. We can't sell because of this process, which has been 5 years in the process. It's been quite glacial in its movement. The planning people would call it that they're doing their due diligence. I have no argument with that. I just wish that we could proceed with this plan so the people that abut this development can sell and, hopefully move on. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bernard. Councillors, any questions for Bernard? No questions? Thank you, mate. The next speaker is Ulrich Ivchenko, is registered to speak in person. Once again, you've got 3 minutes, and I'll let you know when you've got about 30 seconds to go.
Thank you. Good evening, all.
Evening.
My question is, well, can I read this out for it and then I'll ask a question at the end?
You can't ask questions, no.
I'm concerned about the proposed roundabout on the corner of the Old Melbourne Road and Dalesford Road, otherwise known as Geelong Land Road. We've lived there for 42 years. We've seen the speed limit there is about 80 kilometres per hour, but most B-doubles go faster than that. As a proposed roundabout there, the thing is the B-doubles will have to slow down to a point where they have to stop. They'll have to give way to right or left, therefore they have to stop. So they have got to slow down with all their gearing going down and their air brakes using, and then they've got to start up again. Wouldn't a better solution be to put a speed limit from the freeway to the railway lines and bring it down to, say, 50 or 60? The same as what they've got in Dalesford. They do the same thing. It's right out of the town and everyone slows down. They don't have the noise factor. Therefore, the right-of-way should be the B-doubles because the Geelong Bendigo Run or Dalesford Road would be the major road compared to the Old Melbourne Road going around to Gordon. We've got no housing going on the other side towards Gordon to warrant to have a roundabout. So my question is the roundabout going ahead? Going by what I've read, they want to put a roundabout and they want to quicken up on it, and I can't see why they'd do it. Because if you slow the traffic down, you're not going to get the noise. You've got to let the trucks go by. Otherwise, you're going to create a problem. You're going to create a lot of noise factor, because when they drop their gearing and the air brakes, the noise is horrendous. Sometimes we've seen like half a dozen B doubles all in a row coming through. Can you imagine if you had a roundabout? And we've noticed the roundabout down in Bacchus Marsh, they built a roundabout there and they had problems with the trucks and the B doubles going through there. They had to remove that, make it smaller and make it flatter so the B doubles can go across it. So my question is this going to go ahead or not in regards to the roundabout?
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, mate. Councillors, any questions? Councillor Ward.
Thank you. Question for Mr Bazudinhout. I noticed that Precinct 5, it's proposed to have 3 entry-exit points.
Yep.
One into Geelong Balan Road and 2 into the old Melbourne Road, which is Inglis Street. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And if I may, subsequent, and that includes roundabouts into the Inglis Street entrance and exit?
So there's 2 in the Inglis Street and there's 1 in the...
But the roundabout's only at the main intersection.
No. You can't answer the question.
Mr Bazudinhout is just checking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's just checking.
Clarification, Mr Mayor, there was a lot of traffic experts presented to the panel, and one of the requirements is that there's a trigger point, a threshold of when they reach a certain lot number, then they need to upgrade the main intersection. That intersection upgrade provides for a roundabout. As part of that process, DTP, council and the developer needs to be part of that process. It will also take into account the future developments to Balan South. And it will also require that those upgrade works be done at a time when it's considered appropriate for that. But the panel, after considering all evidence submitted or concluded that a roundabout should be provided, and I provided guidance as to when and how.
Thank you, Mr Bazudinhout. Subsequent question, if I may, for Mr Yevchenko.
Yeah.
Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. I received quite a number of submissions from residents who were concerned about the traffic impact Balan, and that's fair enough, because if the precinct's finished, it's going to double the size of Balan. But, no, pardon me.
The question.
Traffic engineering assessments was considered very seriously by the panel. I suppose my question for you is, are you aware that council has gone out for public comment on our Balan integrated transport strategy, and the aim of that is to provide a long-term vision Balan for the transport, not just for roads, but for paths and trails for the next 20 years, and it's going to incorporate planning for Precinct 5, 6 and 7. So there is an opportunity for residents of Balan to contribute to this integrated transport strategy and develop it in a manner to address your concerns. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I suppose the main question is, was the BRTA involved in the decision to put a roundabout there? Or was a transport operator asked if a roundabout was suitable for there?
Mr Bazudinhout.
I'll ask the second question while we're...
Yep, no worries. Thanks, Mr.
I
Councillor.
agree with the speaker on this. I've been in transport 42 years. I've got a heap of B doubles, and roundabouts are my nightmare because I get more phone calls about going around roundabouts where people live than any other thing. So I concur with your problem, I can tell you.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
No, it is a problem. We hear the noise.
No. That's all right. He's trying to help you out,
I know,
but you
he's
can't
trying to help.
answer.
I know he is. I know he
Yeah.
is.
I have got another question after that, Mr.
No
Mayor.
worries.
While you're looking that up then, I note on the old Melways, which is probably I'm a bit old school, but also on the GPS that the area set aside between, excuse me, Dalesford and Geelong for a rest area is exactly opposite where this roundabout is, in front of Crossroads. It's been that way for about 50 years. So as part of that transport study, did someone have a look at that and say, where are all these trucks going to go? Or are they going to park there every night? Mr Mayor. if I
Mr.
answer.
Bazudin.
Thank you, Mr. If I understand it correctly, so DTP is responsible for the road. So obviously, if there's a roundabout, they will have to lead that process. So they will responsible for engaging with both council and the developer. They will also be responsible for taking into account future development and existing development. So if Crossroads is located there, they'll have to consider the impact of that roundabout on the existing development as well. Whether they will be consulting, I can't answer that question, but I know they'll definitely have to engage with council and the developer.
Okay. Any further questions, councillors? Thank you, Uric.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Officers, Mr Mayor.
Sullivan.
Would it be fair to say that the plans and that are being
You can sit down. Yeah.
the end product, and it's likely that some of this infrastructure will come in at different stages in the development, i.e. roundabouts and so on and so forth, because there's going to be a significant amount of development here, which I would suggest will extend over probably a 10-year period. So, I mean, the roundabout's not going to happen overnight. It'll come in due course if and when that comes. So I suppose that's my question. This is going to be staggered, and there's going to be a threshold or a point at which these things will kick in. So is that a fair comment?
Mr. Bazudin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's a very accurate statement and a very good summary.
Councillor Tatchell.
Well, that brings us to another question then, Mr Mayor, that if we have a traffic study where the Crossroads is, council has put a truck bypass on the other end where there's we'll need a traffic management plan to get out of there on our way to the Bostock, or because I'm sure that a B double wouldn't be able to turn there. And if you put a roundabout there, I think it'd be you have to put a letterbox on it. Thank you.
We'll take that as a statement.
Well, the question is, are they going to do a traffic management report on that?
Yeah. There's no questions from the gallery. You can't ask a question, so. Oh, you can't hear? Can we turn it up?
Yes, thank you.
No worries.
I'll put their mics there to their faces.
No worries. Thank you. Councillor Ward?
Question waiting there.
Oh, do you want to? Yeah, sorry.
Not that I want to push in, Mr Mayor.
No, you're right.
So I'll bring it in closer. How's that sound?
That's better.
God, next I'll be singing Elvis. Thank you.
No, you can't. No. That's fine. So the question, Mr. Bazudin, a response?
From
Councillor Tatchell?
Yeah. That's correct. When the further work is done, they'll obviously consider, as I said previously, existing development, future development, and there will be a traffic impact assessment, and council will form part of that process. So any requirements that we may have, we will be afforded the opportunity to input into that.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, as I mentioned, I've had some questions emailed through to me from people who had the opportunity to present at the panel that maybe didn't agree with the panel recommendations. So I just have some questions I want to ask. But first and foremost, there was also concern expressed by some residents who were unable to get to Bacchus Marsh for the panel hearing. And the question was asked, and it's for Mr Bazudin, how it is, why was the panel hearing held in Bacchus Marsh and not Balan when it affected the Balan residents?
Mr. Bazudin.
Through Mr Mayor, the panel normally tries to have the panel hearings in the most accessible location for the convenience of the community. However, it's not always possible. There were constraints in Balan in terms of venue availability, and the best alternative was Bacchus Marsh. And we also made that hearing dates, the schedule available far in advance that the community know and can plan.
Thank you. Further question, Mr Mayor. Some in the community have indicated preference for development south of the railway line in what we refer to as precincts 6 and 7. Mr Bazudin, can you please provide a summary of the key reasons for the decision to proceed with precinct 5 first?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. The proponent submitted the proposed amendment for Precinct 5, so council progressed it. It had sufficient information to progress the amendment. The amendments in development to the south were not that far advanced. It's still not at that point where it can be considered and put to authorization for exhibition, because there's still outstanding issues, specifically in relation to infrastructure, water, sewer, a number of issues, Melbourne water-related matters. So those developments are not yet advanced enough to progress to consultation or exhibition or to be considered. Precinct 5 was far enough advanced and sufficient information to be considered.
Further question, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
The Balan Aqueduct Channel, the ownership of that was clarified earlier. In the Balan Framework Plan, it is identified as primary shared path network in the future. And it's now, well, not disappeared, but it's not recommended in the final outcome. What are the plans for the future of the Aqueduct Channel? You touched on it earlier in the questions.
Mr Brzezinha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The original plan, the Balan Strategic Direction, does show the aqueduct, because that's existing infrastructure that's existing. It did identify the potential for sections of that to be potential walking and cycling. As part of the process, that was further explored. It's not in the ownership of the developer, so obviously that's the one constraint. But a development plan and a recommendation of the panel do make provision for walking, cycling, pedestrian linkages to be provided as part of the development plan. So all of that will be addressed at a later stage. And if there's opportunity to accommodate some of that in the aqueduct, that will definitely be reflected in the plan.
Thank you. Further question, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
There was also originally going to be a footbridge across the river linking in the past, but it's now in the final plan, well, in what's the documentation in front of us, as a proposed bridge. Can you please explain what's happened to that bridge? Thank you.
Thank you. Through Mr. Mayor, the council indicated the pedestrian bridge across the river. The expectation from council was that the developer provide the bridge, is responsible for that. The panel did confirm or concluded that there's not a direct nexus and they can't be held responsible for the bridge. They did, however, also consider environmental considerations, Melbourne water submissions, and what I indicated is that the pedestrian link and the bridge should be provided at a future date, and an indicative location was shown on plan. All of that will have to be refined through the further work of the development plan and also subsequent work by council, and it will have to be placed either in a future capital works program or alternative funding options considered.
Thank you. I promise you I've nearly finished, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
Jody commented again and made a very good point about who's going to have the responsibility, and this is a question for Mr Bazudin out again, who will have the responsibility to manage, maintain and protect the Werribee River escarpment and floodplain? I note there are 100-metre setbacks to protect the river, but that is quite a big area that will need maintenance.
Thank you. Through Mr Mayor, it's not standard practice with this approval to allocate responsibility specifically. So as the process progresses through development plan and future subdivisions, some of those will be clarified. Some of the spaces may become incorporated in active open space, which may potentially become council responsibility. Some of it may even be of interest to the RAPs or Aboriginal groups, and there may be some that would be the responsibility of Melbourne Water if it's part of the floodplain management. So I can't answer that exactly, but as part of the subsequent ongoing processes, those ownership and responsibilities will be resolved, and in decisions made, council will be consulted and advised.
Thank you. Mr Mayor, my final questions do regard Melbourne Water. Melbourne Water have requested that they be the determining authority. Mr Bazudin, is that commonplace? And my further question is Melbourne Water, have they provided advice over the size or volume of the retention basins that have been proposed?
Mr Brzezinha.
Through Mr Mayor, when the subdivision is considered, Melbourne Water will definitely be a determining or Section 55 referral authority. We will most likely consult them as part of the development plan when we compile the development plan, or the development plan is compiled. In terms of the size of the detention basins, I can't, that's a very technical question. I assume the panel would have considered the strategy to say they satisfy that that can be dealt with. There can be adequate detention and retention provided, and the detail will be sort of resolved through the further processes to calculate the exact details of that. And there will be plans submitted for approval.
Thank you. Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I suppose the question was an extension of what Councillor Ward asked. Being the Melbourne Water will be the authority, will they be? Because I would have thought being a waterway that within treaty they would trump Melbourne Water in the continuance of whatever's done down there, that area. Is that part of the discussion, or have we seen any documentation in terms of the land rights that have been issued several months ago? Thank you. That's a question.
Mr Mayor, I prefer to take that one on notice.
Thank you. Any further questions, councillors? We have a recommendation to the agenda. Do I have a councillor move the recommendation outlined in the agenda? Mover, Councillor Sullivan. Seconder, Councillor Tatchell. Would any councillors like to speak on the motion? No? Anyone opposed? No, no one's opposed. All those in favour? Passed unanimous. Moving along, community planning and development reports. The next report is item 12.2, Mattingly Planning Study and Amendment C119 Moore Mattingly Framework Plan. We have 6 registered speakers to this item. Christine Levy, you're the first one up. You have 3 minutes, so I'll let you know when there's about 30 seconds to go.
I hope you start when I ask.
Nah, you're all right. We'll give you time. And just push the green button in front of you.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Can you hear me? Excellent. Okay, good evening, Mr. Mayor, CEO Madden, councillors, council staff, and all the guests. 25 years on, that some of the residents in Mattingly have lived under the restrictive special use zone. This considers the area immediately south of Bacchus Marsh Grammar. Some silver anniversary, eh? As I prepared for this short presentation, I noted that we have been in this position several times, with various reviews, planning studies, municipal strategic statements. The language changes, but the outcome has not. We support the proposals in the current Mattingly planning study that the boundaries of the special use zone set in 2000 would be shifted to cover only the licensed area for coal mining held currently by Mattingly Brown Coal. This would be consistent with other similar zones in Victoria, and it is my understanding that local councillors can set their own boundaries with reference to appropriate sanctions. I would like to make the point that this special use zone formalized the declaration made by Victorian State Liberal government in 1997 that protected areas of coal reserves. In actual fact, later testing and reports discovered that the coal reserve is greater and more accessible east of Geelong Road, yet no special use zone was created there. There has been some confusion in recent years that the special use zone was to protect the waste collection, as it is a valued resource by the Central Highlands Waste Authority, if I've got that name right. When the zone was declared, however, we received a letter from the minister of the day. We have received no state communication about any changes as to its intent. Previous zoning in this area was rural with extractive industries or mining. There were no restrictions. However, things change. Yet there has been no substantive change in the 25 years regarding the coal usage from this facility. The primary activity has been to collect inert waste, green waste to combine with the brown coal to create soil conditioners, and to store low-level contaminated soil. We predicted years ago that the sterilization of the tussock would increase noxious weed growth and vermin habitat. Indeed, serrated tussock and prickly pear has increased, skirting around the increasing boxthorn in the areas of absentee landlords. Lifting the limitations and restrictions of the special use zone would allow careful planning relating to current area needs, to allow appropriate development that would treat landholders with dignity and respect. We support council in taking this direction. I can see no benefit for the community in the status quo. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Councillors, do you have any questions of Christine? Thank you.
No green lights. Thank you.
No green lights. The next speaker is Robert Levy. Same thing, 3 minutes. I'll let you know when there's about 30 seconds to go.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for giving me this time to speak. I'm going to hit you with the same kind of sticks. Some of you, I've spoke to some of you before, and I'm going to speak to some of you for the first time. They say we live in an equal society with a fair go for all. Unfortunately, this SUZ1, Special Use Zone 1, has made a few of the Shire's residents lesser than some. We have met here a few times, and at VCAT, and at the library, and at the Andy Arnold Senior Citizen Rooms. Yes, this issue goes back that far. A few of you have taken time to talk to us at our homes. But back when the zone was first placed over the properties, there were only 2 other shires in the state that had placed a zone as restrictive as this one, over private landowners. Everybody else was over the businesses that were concerned. The impact this zone has had is visible in the condition and uses of the privately owned lands in that zone. My property is covered in weeds that have blown in after we've cleared, sprayed, and sowed paddock seed. Our fences were covered in serrated tussock seed from the properties that were stifled in their plans for development. We sit waiting and watch the degradation of the land around us. The zone prevented us from building without consulting Mattingly Brown Coal as if it was okay to do so. We were not going to ask. We assumed what the result would be, knowing Mattingly Brown Coal knew we were part of the resistance to their waste proposals. So we made a hard call and then sold our business that employed 15 locals because the expansion was going to be impossible at the time we needed to do it. As you know, somehow the private school was able to get special treatment and has expanded into the SUZ1 and has done nothing but expand its footprint. Good on them. Now I wonder why we're saving this land on South Mattingly Road for coal mining. We've had testing by Mantle Mining Group that held the surrounding license to develop a mine around the current mine. They didn't, and as far as I know, MBC hasn't rushed to grab their license. They should have it if the coal was worth anything to them. Don't forget that this zone is about the coal seam, protection and extraction. Nothing else, never changed, not for waste. We've had to deal with the government departments in our own personal life that this zone has made us fall into a very unique gray area. The banks treat purchasers differently because they perceive the zone as a threat. When the mine was sold to MBC, they said they had about a 30-year life in it. David Collegiate told me that. He's gone. We are now well along that lifespan, and I'm sure that has changed. Sorry, but unless they start mining more coal, it will close sooner than later. The coal isn't very good from East Mattingly Road westward. In fact, some of it is the very lowest quality in the whole seam. So I want to just thank you for producing the possibility of changes to our area. And I also want to encourage you to stop the procrastination, get off the fence, change the special use zone back to the current license.
Thank you, Robert. Councillors, do you have any questions for Robert? Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Chris Stockham.
I don't know if I'm in the wrong section, We just moved to Balan just within 5-6 months. We live on Geelong Ban Road, and we weren't told by the real estate did mention that there was going to be the town growing, but she said it was nowhere near our property. Now, behind our property, I've been told by my neighbour that it's been earmarked for development. So I don't know if I'm speaking to the wrong people or I've got to speak to someone in council. Yeah. We didn't want to move to a town and have another 2,000 houses behind us. We wanted the rural lifestyle, countryside and nothing. But from what we've been told from the neighbours, there's going to be roughly 2,000 houses behind us. So all I want to know is if definitely going ahead, because it is, we'll start up and move to somewhere else that not going to have 2,000 houses behind us. So we're on Geelong Ground Road near opposite the crossroads, pretty much. So that's...
I think, yeah, I'll have a chat to you after the meeting.
I'll wait, so we'll have a chat,
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, all right.
Speak to the planners after the meeting, which is Henry. Thank you. The next speaker is Carol Wharton. The same, you've got 3 minutes. I'll try to let you know when you've got 30 seconds to go. Thank you.
Mr Mayor, councillors, thank you so much for hearing us and for this meeting and for the possibility of change to the zoning of the Mattingley area. As you've heard some of the implications of that special use zone, I would like to share some of the implications and the effect it's had on me personally. As the longest serving resident in that area, I've been there 44 years, seen change to the zoning twice, seen a change where at one stage it was going to be residential land and the council had all those plans happening, and then that didn't happen. My statement is, the coal mine, is it ever going to be extended in our direction? Never. Why is this zone still there? Right. 9 years ago, and I'm sorry, I'm going to get irate, 9 years ago I tried to sell my property. I had a keen buyer, keen to buy it. The bank said, no, it's too risky. It's special use zone. It's going to be a coal mine. No. So that fell in a heap. As a widow, I thought, okay, I shall try plan B and put a house on the back 10 acres. Got 2 titles. And what happened with that? Collegia, no you can't. No you can't. Council, no you can't. EPA, no you can't. One house more than 1,000 metres from the coal mine, no you can't. Right, that was my superannuation. Right, so now recently, I have again thought of putting the house on the market. Again, real estate agents have said to me, it's risky. Don't you know they've got to have 40% deposit to buy something like this with a special use zone, possibly a coal mine, right? Really? Come on. I would extremely welcome some change to this zoning. Get us out of this zoning, for goodness sake. 27 years sitting in it is enough. Enough. Have any of you been to that area to have a look, I wonder, to see what's down the road? A grammar school with 2,500 children, right, come on, that's not going to be a coal mine. We need some change, please. I'm begging you, change it to something, anything other than that, so that we can make some use of the land. As my neighbours have said, the land itself is going to pot. It's just a disgrace, right? Please go and have a look. Go and have a look. It has great potential for other zoning. It's so close to the station, to the schools. It is perfect situation to be zoned differently. So I welcome it. So before I start crying, I'm going to go and sit down. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Next up, we have Alice O'Meara.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors and council staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name's Alice O'Meara. I'm speaking on behalf of the Collegia Group, the owner and operator of Mattingley Brown Coal and Landfill, JBD Industrial Park and major waste transfer stations in Coburg and Altona. We employ more than 250 people across Victoria. Our land holdings make up 72% of the Mattingley Planning Study area, and together with the surrounding land form part of a broader 1,200 hectare land holding. The Mattingly site supports a range of existing lawful uses, including coal mining for non-thermal, agricultural and fertiliser products, organics processing and soil manufacturing, resource recovery and landfilling of construction, commercial and priority waste. Our overall position on the Mattingly Planning Study draft... Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I've only got 3 minutes.
It's,
Oh,
well, thank you.
apologies.
You're right.
We acknowledge that the draft of the Mattingly Planning Study represents an improvement on the first draft that was released in 2022.
Excuse me, mate. Just leave it up to me. Thank you.
However, the final draft before Council tonight is materially different again. It is 234 pages long, contains significant new content and amendments throughout, and introduces complex and interrelated policy positions. Critically, it was released on Friday afternoon with only 3 business days for review. In our view, the timeframe is neither fair nor realistic for affected landowners, particularly given the scale and implications of the document. Our request to Council is, in the spirit of meaningful consultation and sound planning process, we respectfully ask Council to authorise the draft Mattingly Planning Study for further consultation in early 2026, defer the adoption of the study to the February 2026 ordinary meeting of Council, and defer consideration of Amendment C119 until the same time. In the context of a multi-year planning process, this does not appear to be an unreasonable delay. Our key issues with the document as it stands is it currently omits the most significant error in the planning study is the complete omission of the Victorian Recycling Infrastructure Program, or VRIP. The VRIP is the state government's overarching policy for waste and resource recovery infrastructure. It explicitly requires long-term protection of existing infrastructure and integration with land use planning to avoid encroachment. In addition, the Mattingly Planning Study makes sweeping policy statements about landfilling, about post-rehabilitation land use and third-party involvement. Part F of the study takes an in-principle position that coal mining is not appropriate in the study area. This is deeply concerning. Mattingly Brown Coal is a Resource Victoria licensed mine with decades of continuous lawful use and potential for continued extraction supported by state policy. This position suggests a fundamental misunderstanding of the largest landholding and an economic contributor in the study area. Despite these concerns, we do support elements of the study, particularly objectives to protect industrial land from unplanned encroachment and respect existing approvals and existing use rights. We also support the, in principle, exploring a buffer area overlay, provided it is developed collaboratively and on a without prejudice basis. In closing, I thank council officers and councillors for the ongoing engagement. We believe the matters raised tonight warrant further targeted consultation before adoption of the Mattingly Planning Study. We respectfully ask Council to defer both items until February 26 to allow that to occur.
Thank you. Councillors, Councillor Bingham.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Clearly, most of the discussion tonight is about, obviously, a special use zone, particularly to the west of East Mattingly Road.
We appreciate that.
As obviously someone representing the Collegia Group, do you support, I just want to be clear in your view in moving that special use zone?
Oh, yes, we are supportive of reducing the special use zone. We just require further detail in order to inform further discussion on that.
As in east of the
West
road?
of Mattingly Brown Coal.
Yes, at the moment, the special use, sorry, Mr Mayor. At the moment, the special use zone is to the west of East Mattingly Road, which affects obviously the speakers tonight.
Yep.
So obviously there is a want to move that in line with the current mining licence, which is to the east of the road. Would you be supportive of that?
If I could just, I don't have a copy of the mining licence in front of me. I believe you're referring to Kerrs Road, where it turns into Gullines Road.
No, so
So the mining licence area, so we do notionally support the reduction of the special use zone to the northwest, so sub-area 4, 5 and 6, as listed in the Mattingly Planning Study. I will take it on notice in regards to the area that the mining licence goes over Gullines Road and get back to council on that.
Thank you. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Alice. I note the original Mattingly planning study was completed in 2021 and was released for consultation to the community in 2022. So that was some years of work. So here we are over, potentially 10 years later. And you've requested this be deferred to February for further consideration. I suppose, just for clarity, we are tonight discussing whether or not to adopt the planning study. We are not discussing whether to adopt a planning scheme amendment. If we adopt a planning study, we then start work on a planning scheme amendment that will involve significant consultation with your business
Appreciate that.
and the community and the residents. So there'll be significant community engagement, but understanding that there will be the opportunity to engage further, would that not give you some comfort that can address any concerns that you have?
I think there's a couple of, there's some material flaws in the draft planning study that was released on Friday, namely the use of the SWRP, the statewide Resource and Recovery Infrastructure Program, which was replaced by the VRIP in 2024. There are some policy considerations that I believe should be updated in the draft study prior to it being adopted by Council.
Thank you. Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. A couple of simple questions. Last time we spoke to a representative of Manningley Brown Coal, a simple question was asked on how much coal was actually being produced.
Yes.
And I went and checked, and the figure I was given was wrong. So do you want to have another go?
I have actually got documents that I can send to Council tomorrow morning.
If you would,
our
please.
coal records.
But I just caution that when we ask a question, it's for good reason. I mean, we were misled by a lot of tonnes. So on the question, but anyhow, we're moving along. Would you agree that Mattingly Brown Coal now produces a secondary industry within the coal mine?
The coal mine is critical for the landfilling infrastructure, and we do have an existing coal.
I'll try and keep you on the question. Would you agree that the activities now that are happening in Mattingly Brown Coal are now what we would consider to be secondary industries?
No, I don't believe
You
so.
don't? Okay. So then my third question, the issue here is that when I asked about how much coal was to be produced, that was relevant to the licence. The boundaries that were put in place were on the basis that they were producing and protecting coal.
Yes.
In your submission, there are a number of industries happening on that site that a fair and reasonable person would say are not relating to coal mining. They may require coal as part of the process, but they're not actually protecting coal for the purposes that the boundaries were put in place. Would you agree with that?
I'll take that on notice and get
We've
back
got
to you.
two on notice, but really, look, Mr Mayor, we've got a few on notice, but they're not going to affect the decision tonight, but I am concerned about some of the information that's coming back. So when you go back to your bosses or whoever is employing you, just say it'd be really handy if they actually produce the right information for council. Thank you.
Any further questions, councillors? Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Don Collegia has provided a written submission to this item, which is before you, councillors. We have a recommendation on the agenda. Do I have a councillor move a recommendation outlining the agenda? Councillor Bingham. A seconder.
I'll second with a question, if I may.
Councillor Sullivan, yes.
My question is basically that the critical thing here tonight is just point one, which is to adopt the Planning Study 2025. My question is in relation to point two on the recommendation. When do we think, and I'm not putting any pressure on people, when do we think that we'd be looking to prepare a planning scheme amendment? Perhaps it's a question to officers,
Mr. Pizzuto.
Mr Mayor, I'll pass on to Kate Barkley.
Through the chair, the recommendation tonight also requests
that we, upon receipt of authorisation, exhibit an amendment. The amendment documentation is attached in your package tonight as well. It's on the agenda. The intention would be that we would submit a request following a decision tonight to the Minister for Planning, and we would await advice around when the timing of that might occur, and then following that a public exhibition process would follow.
Any further questions, councillors?
Yep.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Question for officers. I suppose in reading the documentation, to me, our objectives seem very clear here. And I suppose, just to give everyone some comfort, Mr Bazudniout, what we're proposing to do with this planning study is to create a special use zone for effectively Mattingley brown coal and a waste hub, which is an important local business, and a special use zone that will incorporate the school. Crown land will be rezoned, and there'll be a rezoning of the land to address the concerns of the residents. And as Christine Levy pointed out, they've been living there for 25 years under different rules from everyone else. So that is the intent. A very small summary of what is a much larger study, but that is some of the key stuff that we've discussed tonight. Would that be fair?
Mr Bazudno.
Through the Chair, the intent of the amendment is to provide the long-term guidance for future rezonings. The initial phase is a policy update to put that into the Mirrabul planning scheme, and then what would follow would be those subsequent proposals to rezone land in accordance with the recommendations in the study. So there's still a lot of work to be done.
Thank you. Any further questions? We'll now put the motion to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimous. Moving along to item 13.1, councillors will now, the report is investigation of a municipal charge.
Recommendation, Mr Mayor.
Mover is Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Thatcher will second. And is there any questions? Beg your pardon? Is anyone opposed? All in favour? Carried unanimous. There's no other reports listed. Now we move along to notices of motion. Notice of motion number 343, Mirrabul Shire Council demands solutions to the Bacchus Marsh traffic woes.
Just before we do that, Mr Mayor, I'd just like to ask a question. I don't need to interfere with the notice of motion, but I've got concerns that we've got two people tonight, one that has been put in the wrong area to speak to an item that's already gone through. But more importantly, the other person who was booked to speak, who we did have a question in writing, had actually notified me that they were going to be speaking for 3 minutes, which was the indication that was given to them that they were going to do it. I assume that's why they're here. Can we get that checked, please, just to make sure in future that we'd probably do, when someone rings up and they want to speak to something, that we've, one, got them in the right column, and two, are they writing a letter, are they wishing to speak? Thank you.
No worries. All right, moving along to the notice of motion. Notice of motion 343, Mirrabul Shire Council demands solutions to Bacchus Marsh traffic woes. We've obviously got a recommendation in the agenda. Do we have a mover? Councillor Ward. Seconder, Councillor Sullivan. Anyone against? All in favour? Carried unanimous. Moving along to item 15.2, notice of motion number 344, Mirrabul Shire Council's submission to the federal government inquiry into funding and financial sustainability of local government in Australia. Councillor Ward. Mover. Seconder. Councillor Thatcher. Anyone against? All in favour? Carried unanimous. Item 15.3, notice of motion number 345, Gifford Street upgrades. Do I, Councillor Mover, Councillor Bingham. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ward? Any objections? All in favour? Carried unanimous. Moving along to item number 16, notices of rescission. Item 16.1, notice of rescission, response to item 14.3, a response to a notice of motion number 328, subsidised waste services. Councillor Tatchell.
Yeah, maybe it's simply an amendment, Mr Mayor.
No worries. A seconder, Councillor Bingham. Anyone against? All in favour? Carried unanimous. Moving along to number 9, item 17, Mayor's and Council's report. We have a Mayor's report in front of us. Do I have someone who will move that? Councillor Berry. Councillor Ward, a second. No one against? All in favour? Carried unanimous. All right. Moving along to Councillor's report. Is there anything to add, Councillor Sullivan?
Mr Mayor, I have sent my councillor report in to the officers. There's just one matter I would like to note. Yesterday evening I attended the triennial meeting of the Bungaree Recreation Reserve at Bungaree, and one matter that sort of did come to the fore while I was there, that basically the imbalance that exists in the resourcing of recreation reserve committees across the Shire. And I think it's something that council needs to look seriously at going forth into the new year. It just struck me, basically what we have is we have a system that some sites get silver service while other facilities actually it's self-service. And I think we have to address that going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Kerr.
Pardon me, Mr Mayor, I've got no more to report. I've put my written submission in.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Tatchell.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd like to seek the Chamber's indulgence with respect to the massacre in Bondi a couple of days ago, and I'd ask the councillors if it would be appropriate to give a minute's silence to the 15 victims and the 40 people that were injured, and to the bravery of the people that rendered their assistance. So I know that's probably not in order of where we sit, Mr Mayor, but I think it's appropriate.
All councillors are okay with that? Okay.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Minari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have nothing to report, but I have sent in my report to governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Minari. Councillor Bingham.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just one thing to report. In accordance with the MAV guidelines, I'd just like to advise council that I've been endorsed as a Liberal candidate for the seat of Melton in the next state election. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I also submitted my report, but I have two things just briefly to speak on. The Bacchus Marsh Christmas Festival and Carols. It was run on the 12th, Friday the 12th and Saturday the 13th. Still went ahead, an extreme great event considering all the rain, the storm. I had people ringing me on Saturday in particular. They still held the event. I drove down past it and it was amazing the amount of people there with the storm that went through Bacchus Marsh. On Sunday, the 14th, attended the Emergency Services Expo at St Anne's Winery, where Moorabool Shire was participating, and well done to Cherie Graham, who in the last few years attends, and her team for manning the Moorabool Shire marquee under extensive winds. So the whole weekend we had a lot of extreme weather. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I have submitted my report, but just one very quick thing. Monday I attended the Health and Wellbeing Committee meeting, and it was great to welcome 2 community representatives now on that group, which is great to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Councillor Ward.
Nothing to report, Mr Mayor.
And thank you. We'll get a mover on that, councillors. Councillor Bingham, seconder, Councillor Berry. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Moving along to urgent business, Councillor Sullivan.
Business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Keogh. Thank you, Councillor Keogh.
Business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Tatchell.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tatchell. Councillor Minari.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Minari. Councillor Bingham.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Councillor Berry.
No urgent business, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillor Freeman.
Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Councillor Ward.
I just wanted to congratulate all councillors and staff on their efforts over the past 12 months and wish them a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. You stole my thunder a little bit there. I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, season's greetings, and a Happy New Year to everyone. We'll be back on the 6th of February, the 4th of February in 2026. So I wish everyone all the best. We'll have a brief pause now. Do you want to? We'll have a break.
I'll move we adjourn for 5
We'll
minutes.
adjourn. We have a mover, Councillor Sullivan, Councillor Keogh. All those in favour? So passed. Carried unanimous. Now we'll get the we're about to resume the meeting. Mover, Councillor Sullivan. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Minari. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. Yeah, that's it. We'll now vote to go back into confidential. I'll get a mover for that. Councillor Tatchell, seconder, Councillor Berry. All those in favour? Passed.